The re-debut of Brian Pillman would occur on this show. Now, we've talked about the loose cannon. It's well documented in wrestling lore that this character that Brian Pillman created, this loose cannon, legitimately blurred the line of how he was working the fans, how he was working the locker room, how he was working management. Did you see this character as being revolutionary at that point, Shane? Because we had never seen somebody really kind of put this veil of confusion over not just the fans, but the boys, the workers, the production people. It was amazing what Pillman was able to do with this character.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, I wasn't aware that Brian was still contracted to WCW. You know, I was going on the same information the fans were, that he had been released, and you know, there was all that backstory information. You know, so I was unaware of that. And, you know, in hindsight, looking back at it, I got to tell you, I'm envious, because I would have never thought of approaching a storyline that way. I mean, cause you got to picture this. He's going to go to Eric Bischoff, his boss in WCW, and say, let's work an angle where you fire me, or I'm released, or I ask my release, whatever. And, you know, there's all this ancillary information that goes along with it. The release being faxed, you know, all the information that if, say, a Dave Meltzer or Wade Keller was going to go check on would be verified. And, you know, it just so widely spread out the horizons of wrestling, as, you know, instead of it being, here's Shane Douglas, he works for this promotion or that promotion, and therefore he can't possibly appear at one of these other shows. I mean, that was unheard of in those days. You know, if you were a talent for the NWA, you did not appear on a UWF show or a WWF show. It was unheard of. And to see how forward thinking and how cutting edge Brian Pillman was with that, you know, it made your wheels turn. Like, what are the boundaries? What really are the parameters of what I can do and what I can't do? Suddenly, with what Brian Pillman was doing, cleaned the slate. You know, much of what I see in wrestling today, and for many years after Brian doing this stuff in ECW, you know, later Rick Rude coming and having worked for WWF and WCW and ECW all in the same week. All of those things have routes that directly lead right back to Brian Pillman. You know, today, because of that, you know, the fans, you know, think they're smart because they now got that point of it, and so aren't going to fall for it again. Well, that's just a question of till the next thing comes along. And at that time, in '96, Brian Pillman was so far ahead of his time that he hook, line, and sinkered all of those fans in. It was a master stroke of working, and which is what our business is supposed to be. If you can convince 1,100 fans, as smart as those fans in the ECW arena were, if you can convince them that you are truly the loose cannon, the guy that told Bischoff to fuck off and all the rest of this, and be there threatening to piss in the middle of the ring, and not just the company, but the fans ready to respond, that's what tells you that you've hit the nail right on the head and you're a master worker. And Brian Pillman proved that in spades at Cyber Slam '96.